You went through a very public breakup
Okay.
after a long-term relationship.
Yeah.
People had a lot of feelings. People had a lot of opinions.
Okay.
And I'm sure it was not easy
Yeah.
going through such a public long-term breakup.
Yeah.
I feel like I've seen him back around. Hello, and welcome to this week's episode of What It's Really Like with me, your host, Molly Burke. And today, we've got a longtime friend here.
Hello.
I know everybody is going to be so excited to see the one and only Joey Graceffa on the podcast.
Oh, I'm so glad to be here. Thanks for having me.
For anyone who lives under a rock and has no idea who the iconic Joey Graceffa is, who are you?
The grandfather of YouTube. I've been a content creator for almost 20 years now. It's going to be my 20th anniversary next June.
That's even longer than I thought.
Yeah, I had a OG channel that I started on, but yeah, I've done pretty much every type of content out there, from vlogging for 5 years straight to music videos, iconic ones like Don't Wait, the creator and producer of Escape the Night, which was YouTube Red's longest running show, and now currently I just vlog rescuing pregnant dogs from the shelters, finding them on the streets and helping them give birth, and raising the puppies for 2 months and then sending them on their way to their forever families.
You've truly had so many eras.
I feel like you have to.
You do.
It just gets like, you have to evolve with the times. You got to spice things up, because if you're going to like stay in the industry, like either you get burnt out or you get kicked out or you give up.
Yeah. Very, very real. I feel like you have to evolve because we as humans evolve, right? So it's like, if my content is truly representative of me in my life, I'm evolving.
Yeah.
So I can't keep my content stuck because it was performing well, because then I will get creatively burnt out because I'm doing something that's inauthentic.
Yeah.
And I'm just not that person. Like, I can't do that.
A period of time where I was cutting open stress toys and they were doing so well, like would get millions of views, and I'm like, this is insane that people are watching this, one. And then two, I was like, oh, I can't do this forever. Like, I gotta like evolve and like change stuff up.
You mean you weren't feeling gratified by cutting open stress toys? You weren't feeling fulfilled?
I was feeling satisfied, not gratified.
Is that my next era? Is my next era cutting open fidget toys?
Can it please come back? Because that was the easiest time on YouTube. I think it was 2016 when I could just like upload anything and it would just...
Don't you miss that era? I totally miss my 2019 era where like I could post anything I wanted and in under 24 hours it would have like over 100,000 views.
Yes. Bring it back.
Bring back the era. But we're so fortunate. Like, we're so lucky that we even got to be a part of that time.
Oh my God. Such iconic times for sure. It's not like that anymore.
It's
like, there's
so
no
oversaturated
whatsoever.
That's what I'm most sad about. Is it
Yeah.
feels like we're all on our own island.
Yep.
And there's no community the way there used to be. And like, obviously people like you and Rosanna Pansino and Lord DIY, like you guys all paved the path for somebody like me to come in as like that next wave. I started posting in 2014 and then I popped off in like 2018 and then had my like huge kind of blow up year in 2019.
Yeah.
And so I was like, definitely, you know, after you guys were the people that I watched who inspired me to be like, ooh, I want to do that. That's so cool. That's so fun. But what I loved about it was like, there was at that time, 2016, 2017, 2018, like a core group.
Yeah.
And it's like, if you watched YouTube, which was the only platform to really watch content on,
Sure.
if you didn't watch the same people as your friends, you at the very minimum knew their names.
Yes.
You were like, oh, like I don't watch Molly Burke, I don't watch Joey Graceffa like my friends, but I know that name and I know what they do and I know who they are.
Yep.
Whereas now, there's so much saturation of content and so many platforms to scroll on that everything is so segmented and nobody knows each other anymore.
No. There's so many subcategories in the world. I mean, it's because pretty much every single person in the world is a content creator now. Everyone has their phones out constantly. Just everything is a piece of content. Whereas before it was almost like an escape from reality.
Yes.
And now reality is an escape from the internet. which is sad.
Wow, I love like, that is so sadly accurate.
Yeah.
That is such a good way to put it, and I feel like what I love about it now is that everybody can find themselves. And I think that's really special because that's what was always special about content is like you could find somebody who you related to and
Yeah.
connected with if you couldn't find that community in real
Yeah.
life. So I do think it's cool that like now say the beauty industry for example, it's like if you specifically are looking for content for skincare and makeup for oily skin,
Yeah.
you can find that.
Yeah.
If you're looking for makeup advice for dark-skinned Black women, you can
Yeah.
find that. And I think that's amazing.
You know what? On the flip side of that, though, like, I don't feel like I can trust people anymore. Like, everything feels like an ad. So, like, when I'm
Mhm.
scrolling on TikTok or if I am searching for something specific, I'm like, is this person actually believing it or are they just saying this because they're getting a commission? And then I'm like, I don't know if I can trust things on the internet.
I agree with that, and I feel like it's like the QVC vibe, like
Yeah.
ever since, like, affiliate link shop
Yeah.
became so popular, I do just feel like everything is like everybody's being treated like a cash cow,
Yes, it's a commercial when you go on TikTok. It's like, all right. And then sometimes they do get me though. I'm like, you know what? Actually, I do kind of need that.
and I hate when they get me, I'm like, "Damn it, I fell victim."
I know. And then you get it and you're like, shit, shouldn't have done that.
I
But there
know.
are some that I'm like, ooh, I live. Like this was everything. I'm glad I got it. Like, what was the most recent one? I think I got this is so stupid, but it was like things for my soda cans in the fridge.
Wait, is it the lids?
It's like something that you can put your sodas in and then it like pushes it forward.
I have
And then
it, and I love it. I've had that for a couple of years now, and it's, like, the
Oh,
best thing that ever came into my life to keep my
yes.
fridge so
Organized,
organized.
yes, exactly.
Yes,
Yep.
sometimes you do hit the gold mine, but I feel like because you were so OG, you have lived through all of the eras and all of the evolution of social media,
Yeah.
and you've seen it being, like, literally people in their bedrooms on, like, an old MacBook webcam,
Yep.
just, like,
I was
posting
there.
unedited videos that
Yes.
were, like, so cringe to look back on now to today where it's like literally every business, every person is trying to make it on social media now. And I want to go all the way back
Okay.
because to have started 20 years ago, like you were a visionary,
Thank you.
right? Like
I
you
knew
saw
it was gonna
something,
get to this for sure.
but you like nobody starts doing this if they don't see its potential in some way, right?
I
Like
guess so, yeah. I definitely didn't ever see it becoming what it is now. I think I just thought it was so sickening and cool, like, posting something you've made on the internet and then get people's reactions and they could comment, and then you could interact with them. I was like, "Oh, that's so innovative."
tell me about your childhood. Like, were you before you became a creator, like, were you always a creative person? Were you I feel like a lot of us did come to social media, especially in those earlier years because we were, like, lonely in real life or we
Yeah.
didn't quite have community in real life. Like, what was your childhood like, and what was the precipice that kind of sparked you to start building your own community online?
I think I mean, as a kid, I was definitely, like, such an imaginative kid. My family didn't or, like, my dad, when I would go stay at his house, like, he did not let us stay indoors. Like, it was, "You're outside for the whole weekend, like, you can only come in for dinner." So, all I had was my imagination to entertain me and my sister, so we'd go out, we'd play, like, we were orphans in the woods, we'd make stick forts, we were terrified of quicksand. I still have yet to experience quicksand, but it was my biggest fear as a kid, and, yeah, I think as far as, like, who I was, I feel like I was just, like, a nerdy little gay boy who just loved fantasy and
Mm.
imagination, and I had, like, some, like, core friends, but I was just, like, always interested in, like, the weird nerdy things, and then I got my first camcorder when I was 8 years old, and I would just film everything, and I think that's, like, what initially drew me to YouTube was like, "Oh, well, this is obviously the next evolution of what I should be doing."
Right, it's like, it's this thing that I'm already organically doing, like, you were
Yeah.
already vlogging essentially with
Yeah,
nowhere to put the vlogs.
exactly.
without a name for it even. You were
Yeah.
just like this interest in picking up a camera and filming life.
Yeah.
How old were you when you started on YouTube?
15.
15.
Yeah. I started, it was like, I had seen like a couple of YouTubers, and there was this one girl who lived in Massachusetts where I'm from, and she was just posting the funniest videos, and me and my friends would just come home from school and watch. And then finally we're like, should we do this? And then we did.
What year was that?
2007.
Wow, so like very, very OG. I
Yeah.
feel like I didn't even start really consuming YouTube until 2008.
Okay.
So you were even like an early adopter as a viewer, not
Yeah.
just a poster.
Yep.
What was your first YouTube video?
It's so funny because it wasn't even like a video, it was a stop motion video. It was called Humanation, and it was just like we took a camera and like we just like moved our bodies like a foot forward and then snapped a picture. And we did it. We had a half day of school. We got out of school around like maybe like 10 a.m. Just went to my house and just I was like, all right, today's the day. And we spent all day taking photos. And then that night I learned how to edit. And then next day uploaded. And then the rest is history. And then I made a bunch of accounts that were fake to comment on my own video.
Stop
I was like,
it.
this is the best video ever. I'm totally subbing.
Incredible. I love that for you.
Yeah.
I love that. That is so funny. I definitely in like the early days of my channel, I would like go to other people's videos and like leave a comment trying to like subtly promote
Yes, I
my
did that too.
channel,
Yep.
and then I would like thumbs it up. I would like give my own comment a thumbs up because I'd be like, agree.
Oh my god. Okay, yeah, same
Little
vibe.
entrepreneurs promoting
We
ourselves.
are. Yes.
I love that. So at what point did it take off? Like at what point did it stop being just like shooting the shit, like randomly posting videos here and there, and actually you were like, wait a second, something might be happening?
I think it was like I started like this was like my first initial understanding after like watching content. I was like, okay, there has to be it's very much heavily based on title and thumbnail was something I learned quickly. And I noticed that other content creators were taking more pop culture references. Like at the time, like Camp Rock was like huge. So like having anything with like Camp Rock or the new Saw movie that was coming out would get views because people were searching it. So I learned about optimizing from search results and stuff. And so then I would do parodies. Like I did a Saw parody, I did a Camp Rock lip dub and stuff. And so with those like early things, it really started making my brain work. So the first video that went viral was a music video I did with Justin Bieber, who just was popping off his one time song. And at the time, Farmville was like so poppin'. Everyone was playing Farmville. And so I combined the two. And then on top of that, I made it a collab. So I reached out to like iJustine and a bunch of other creators and was like, can you just like film yourself lip syncing to the song? And then I edited it all together and made like a music video. And by the way, Charlie Puth, who's a very famous singer now, was like from New Jersey, and we connected, and he was like the voice that I was lip syncing to. Like I was like, "Can you sing this for me and send it to me?" And like we'd send him the lyrics. Sometimes he'd write the lyrics, and then yeah, like I would lip sync to Charlie Puth's voice.
Unreal. I mean, Charlie Puth was like an OG YouTuber, which a
Yeah.
lot of people don't even realize
Yeah.
today because he's come so far. But that is truly simpler times.
It
Like
truly was.
the way
So
that would
crazy.
never happen today, the way that would never pop off today, except maybe as like nostalgia core. Like people would
Sure.
like maybe consume it out of a sense of like, oh my God, I remember when I
Yeah.
was younger, I would watch stuff like this.
Yes.
But I feel like today's youth would never click on a video like that and be like, this is fire.
No, definitely not. I don't even know what they have now that's like what they're into. Probably just like brain rot stuff that does not make any sense to me.
I truly feel like today there's no awkward phase. They just go straight from like being baby face kids to like 20-year-olds.
Yeah, what's the new word mogging now? They're just like mogging straight away.
There's too many words for me to keep up with, and I feel old, like, the odd time when I try to use one to, like, sound like I'm with it still, I'm like, "Oh, no, 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 that's embarrassing. It just shouldn't that shouldn't come out of my mouth. I need to stop."
That's how I feel too.
When so was that the first video that, like, popped off for you?
Yeah, and then I was like, "Oh, well, bitch, I'm gonna start doing music videos all the time," and I started, like, this whole period of just music video parodies, and that got me recognized by, like, one of the big YouTube creators who was creating the first YouTube NCN. And so I went to VidCon and she came up to me. Well, I went up to her and I was like fangirling over her. And she was like, I'd love for you to come over to the studio and introduce you to the team. And then I thought she was inviting me to join at the time one of the biggest collab channels called The Station, which was like the top creators had a shared channel that they did these really awesome produced skits on. And it turns out they were starting an MCN, which is like just kind of like a label type thing for YouTubers. And so that's what, like, prompted me to move from Massachusetts to LA at 18 years old.
Did your family know what you were doing? Like, at what point did your family and friends find out what you were doing, and what was their reaction?
Well, my mom was, like she was supportive, but she was an alcoholic, so she was, like, either drunk or just, like, not in the headspace to really know what was happening, and my dad kind of just, like, didn't really think anything of it. Like, he
Mm.
was just like, "Oh, that's just, like, what Joey does, like, just making videos." And then I think they were shocked at, like, 19 when I was like, "Bye, I'm leaving." And they're like, "Sure." And then I left and they were like, "Alright, I guess he did it." And then I was gone.
What about your friends? Like, your age group? Were they like, "This is really cool," or were they like, "This is really cringe"?
I think they were more into it. There was this one girl who I think was jealous that she wasn't, like, a part of the group because it was a collab channel with me and my best friend in high school, and we had a third best friend, and we didn't, like, have her as, like, part of the channel, and so she was a little bit of a hater sometimes, but there were, like just, like, my other friends were very supportive. They were sad that we were leaving, but it was cool that I got to go travel with my best friend across the country and take on Los Angeles together, and just, like I remember, like, being that age and just, like, not having a care in the world. Like, I did not stress about the move at all. I was like it just felt so right, and I had
Mhm.
no hesitations, and I kind of miss that aspect of me. I think when you get older, you kind of just, like, are a little bit more cautious and a little bit more safe with some of your choices in life, and when you're that young, you just, like, kind of have no inhibition, you just go for it, and I'm so glad I did because it led me to where I am today, and I can't imagine still being in Massachusetts.
I actually say that exact thing to my fiancé all the time. Like, my younger self had no fear.
Yeah.
I was so ballsy. I was so willing to do anything. Like, jump out of a plane, sure. Like, go hang gliding, why not? Like, I was just, like, willing to be adventurous and throw myself into anything. And the older I get, the more I'm like, yeah, the idea of that sounds really cool, but also, like, what if something went wrong? Or, like, that
Yes.
sounds kind of scary. Like, I'm like,
Yeah.
oh, I miss my younger self. Like, was the anxiety meds I was taking that removed all my fear? Was it just youth on my side?
Right?
Who's to say? But I feel like I was so much more willing to take risks
Yeah,
than my 32-year-old self.
I know. I feel that. It's hard because I feel like either, like, you face, like, a bunch of rejections throughout,
Mm.
like, your life, so then you kind of just become more reserved and kind of just, like, are like, "Well, I'll just play it safe."
Especially in this career, in this industry, in this city, you face so much goddamn rejection.
Yeah.
Truly, when they say, like, working in entertainment as talent is not for the faint of heart and you have to have a thick skin, they
Yeah.
fricking mean it. I feel like being bullied my whole childhood prepared me to be bullied by the industry because
Yes.
it is mean. It is
Uh-huh.
nasty at times. And, like, publicly, people don't necessarily see it. They see, like, the successful moments
Right.
and they don't see all of the, like, awful comments people in the industry make to you
Yeah.
or all of the no's you get to have that one yes that looks really cool.
Yes. 100%. Couldn't agree more.
But yeah, I do feel
Well
like it's like it makes me more scared to try new things and to take risks. Like I was talking with my team recently, and I feel like over the last 2 years, I've been like really trying to put myself out there and try new things and pivot and like experiment, and I keep failing.
Okay.
And I'm like, I don't know how many more times I can try something new and fail.
Yeah.
Like I'm just at that point where I'm exhausted by it
Yeah.
and I'm feeling like less optimistic.
For sure.
Like just like,
That makes
ugh,
total sense. Like, the amount of discouragement you can feel towards things just not working out, especially when you, like, maybe come from a phase where everything just felt so easy, and it's
yes.
like, "Oh my god, the universe is just blessing me left and right, and I have this, and I have that," and then suddenly it's like, "Hello, universe, it's me, your favorite."
Remember me? I'm still here, still doing
Yeah.
it. I, I try to think of it like being an actress.
Mm,
And, an actor can get a role for 5 years
right.
and then they don't get another role for 4.
Sure.
And they just had this show that they were on, and they were this lead character for 5 years, and they were getting to go to set every day and do what they
Yeah.
loved and making great money, and they were getting press opportunities
Yeah.
because they're promoting the show that they're on.
Yep.
And then all of a sudden, for 4 years, they're going on all these auditions, and they're
Right.
not getting cast for basically anything. They maybe do, like, a short film, or they maybe get a commercial spot,
Yeah.
but they're not getting, like, any big moment, and they just keep biding their time and waiting, like, "When's my next big break? I'm gonna keep putting myself out there and putting myself out there and hope that I have my next big break." And some actors do, and some never do.
Yeah.
Like, some actors, like, that was their moment, and I've kind of tried to always approach my career that way. Like, when I had that blow up phase in my career where I was just getting opportunities left, right,
Yeah.
and center, and I was having to say no to so many things
Right.
because there was only so many days in the week,
Right.
and I quite literally was working all 7,
Yeah.
morning to night, like, nonstop. It was one of those things where I tried to be like, "I know this won't last forever.
Mhm.
Enjoy it while it's here.
Yep.
Invest wisely, and, you're just lucky that this happened for any period of time."
I think
And
that's a great outlook.
I'm glad I saw it that way at the time because it meant that I didn't spend my money rashly or, like,
Yeah.
blow it all on stupid things assuming, like, life will always be this way.
Right.
But at the same time, it doesn't make it, like, easier when you're not in that phase anymore, and it doesn't like, I miss that.
I
Like,
know.
it was fun. I had so much fun living my dream, and it's one of those, like, it's better to have loved and lost to have never loved at all. I do feel that way. Like,
Yeah.
I'm grateful that that era ever happened for me, but certainly, like, I do miss it because I love what I do, and I believe in what I'm doing, and I believe that what I'm doing is important and it matters,
Yeah.
but you need people to see it to have impact. You need opportunity to have impact.
Mhm.
So it is like hard when that like volume of impact or opportunity goes down. And I'm still grateful for the level I have,
Yeah.
but like I wish I could make larger impact than I feel like
No,
I'm
for
able to.
sure, and I think that's, like, very natural. I feel the same way. I think I'm, like, also pretty happy with not necessarily having as many eyes because I feel like that is not sustainable, and it does affect the mental health as
Yes.
well. So I think it's, like, a blessing and a curse. So, yeah, I feel like there's, like, a tricky balance as long as you're happy. I think that's all that truly matters, and I think there's, like, I don't know, lessons to be learned, and I'm just I also think back to that time of whenever I think, like, my craziest times were, and I don't necessarily know if I was super happy during those moments
Mhm.
or if I'm more happy now looking back and, like, thinking of, like, all the positives rather than, like there were a lot of negatives, and I mean, there was a period where I was blogging every single day, and that was just so mentally exhausting. I don't think I was present ever. I don't think I ever really lived in the moment because I was constantly stressed and just worrying about what the views were gonna be and just having so many eyes on you and, like, the second, like, a view would drop, like, 10%, it's like, "Oh, it's over," and just, like,
Yeah.
worrying so much about that at the time was didn't allow me to, like, enjoy that time as much as when I look back now and I see it. So I feel like my perspective now on things, especially in the YouTube space and just online fame in general, has become a lot more healthier.
I do think the benefit in my life now is, like, I have a life. Like, quite literally,
Yeah.
I had no life. I
Yeah.
just worked.
Right.
That was my 100% of my time was
Yep.
just working, and I truthfully, like, if I wasn't working, I was sleeping. I would get in a car on the way to the airport, I would sleep. I would get on the plane, I would sleep. I would get off the plane, I would sleep. I'd get to the hotel, I'd sleep. I'd wake up, I'd do my job, and repeat. Like, I was just so burnt out and on, like, go, 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 that I didn't have the life that I
Yes.
wanted.
Yeah.
I had the career I wanted, but I didn't have the
Yes.
life I wanted. And I do feel like what I'm grateful for now is I still get to do what I love and
Mhm.
feel like it matters, but I'm doing it where, like, I had time to build a relationship with the man I'm gonna marry.
Yes,
I get to
exactly.
go to the gym almost every day of the week and, like, work out, and that I enjoy working out. It feels good for my body and my mental health. I
Yeah.
get to, like, go on vacation if I want to. Like, vacation didn't exist. Vacation was
Yep.
just work. Like, I do
Right.
appreciate that I have time to have friendships now and explore other creative interests
Mhm.
that I just literally didn't have time for
Yeah.
because I was booked and busy. So I do appreciate, like, all of what slowing down gives me today. I also do relate to the idea of, like, that when you know the views aren't gonna be what they used to be, it suddenly matters less.
Yeah.
I think that when I knew I was always gonna get 100,000 views minimum in 24 hours,
Mhm.
if it didn't get that, it was like
Oh.
panic.
Oh my god. Like,
Where like
mood ruined for the whole day.
Stressy,
Yeah.
so stressy. But now I feel like it's the opposite. I'm like, I know it's not gonna get 100K views. So if
Yeah.
it gets that, I'm like, damn, we did
Yeah.
well. Like,
Right.
your bar changes, but you have to go through like an adaption
Yeah.
phase. And I remember back at my peak of success where I would go out anywhere and be stopped up to 40 times a day to take
Uh-huh.
photos
Yeah.
and say hi and chat and hug. And, like, I love meeting my followers. I loved it then, I love it now.
Yeah.
But I do remember thinking, and I would say this to my team, I don't want anything bigger than this. Like,
Mm.
this is good.
Yeah.
Anything more than this,
Yeah.
I would start to feel the need to, like, get a security guard
For sure.
or to change my habits of, like, where I go and when, or, like, I felt like this is the highest level I can do this that's sustainable. Beyond this, it might feel like too much and too overwhelming.
Yeah.
But you were way bigger than me. Like, what was that peak fandom like for you when you would go out, and how did that feel?
I mean, I feel like everyone was always so respectful seeing in person, and it's so interesting now because before I'd get recognized like in like more teen spaces, so like the mall or like City Walk or I don't know, just places teens would be.
Yeah.
And now I get recognized when those people are now in their jobs. So it'll be like either like a barista or the waitress. It's like now that whole generation that watched me as teenagers now is in the job force. So I mostly meet fans in their work.
You being so OG though, like, going way back, you were, like, the first or one of the first big creators to come out on
Yeah.
social media and had, like, the most visible gay relationship.
Yep.
What was the decision to publicly come out, and how did that feel?
It was scary for sure. From, like, the moment I started posting on YouTube, like, the first comments were always about my sexuality. It was, like, either calling me gay, asking if I was gay, and at 15 years old, like, I didn't know. So, I, of course, was, like, very avoidant and dismissive and denied all those, like, gay allegations, and growing up in Massachusetts, it was very anti-gay vibes. So like people would either call the F slur or call me a girl or just like make fun of the way that I naturally was. So to me, growing up, gay was always a negative thing. Like it never was something to be proud about or to like present as. So I rejected that side of me. I mean, I don't think I necessarily knew fully that that's what I was, but I was always offended. So having that almost like brainwashed version in my head of what I thought society felt about gay people, I kept it a secret for a long time. And then finally, once I had built up enough courage and felt confident in who I was after one, coming out to myself, coming out to my family, coming out to my friends, and building a solid foundation. I mean, I had that was probably around like the biggest viewership that I had on YouTube. So it was like so scary to feel like this community could potentially turn on me if I were to reveal my truth. But there were a couple that came before me, like Connor Franta and Troye Sivan, who really, after seeing the response to them, like gave me the courage to be like, okay, there is a community of very supportive people here. So I was like, all right, I still have to like one up these gays. Like, I can't just do a regular sit down coming out video. So I had planned a music video because at that point I was doing music videos here and there. And I just have always been like the creative type to think very imaginative and speak my story through visuals. And so I loved creating music videos and getting to share that creativity. So I started working on a music video concept that was also coinciding with my first book, which was an autobiography about my life called In Real Life. And so I wanted it to almost be a way of representing my life that people would read in my book, but also at the end have the reveal that I was gay. So I did that by kissing a guy at the end of the video. And that guy was the guy that I was dating at the time, Daniel, but I was dating him privately. And so obviously, because I wasn't out. So I posted it and immediately the response was just like so overwhelmingly positive and supportive. And I posted it on my birthday and I had a birthday party and all my friends were there. So it was like a really amazing day of not only getting all the love of the internet and fellow creators just showing support, but also I had like my closest friends surrounding me that night. And it was just amazing day and the release of my first book. So it was like the craziest day of my life was the day that I came out.
Oh, that sounds so lovely. Like, I
Yeah.
am so happy that that was the experience you had coming out
Me
because
too.
so many people, unfortunately, like, that's not their circumstance, and it
Yeah.
just, like I love that you were embraced for being who you are. Were you scared when you were dating somebody in secret before coming out publicly? Like, were you ever scared that it was gonna be leaked or
Yeah.
come out without your
Totally.
autonomy over the situation?
Yes. I was so protective of that because, like, I was also daily vlogging, so I had to exclude him from my life, and I think we were living together at that point too, so it was like I had to, like, be very careful about what I
Mhm.
showed in my vlogs and stuff, and there was a lot of private investigators who found out about it and were, like, catching things, and they were like, because as soon as he was in the music video, people were like, "Who is this guy?" And they were, like, following his Instagram page, and then they'd see me wearing, like, one of his sweatshirts, and so they were connecting the dots, and they were very smart. And then I remember this one time a guy, I think at like Access Hollywood or something, was doing a red carpet interview, and he was just at my season one Escape the Night press days or whatever, and he was like, "Oh, are you here with you're here with your boyfriend, right?" And I was like, "Huh? What do you mean?" And he was like, "Your boyfriend." And I was like, "I don't know what you're talking about." And so he eventually got the hint, and it was pretty stressful, like, trying to hide that, and then finally I was like, "Alright, we're ready to finally just admit that we've been together."
The online sleuths never cease to amaze me. It's
They
incredible, like,
Yeah.
did you see that situation, like, a few years back when another OG, Aspen Ovard, was, like, getting divorced and had her baby? And it's like the whole internet found out before she ever said anything what her baby's name was and that she filed for
No.
divorce. And it was like, how? Literally how?
Wow.
I'm like, how do people do this? Did you ever have, like, any crazy rumors about you that weren't true?
Yeah, I mean, it's frustrating because I feel like there was, like, a whole era of drama channels that literally would just make up the craziest things, and people would just believe at face value, and, like, I remember those drama channels talking about other people and, like, me falling for it, and then then being on the other side being like, "Oh my god." Like, these are just the most insane claims that they make that are just so untrue, but are entertaining, but just not true. But then it's like you don't want to acknowledge them because it gives them power and
Mhm.
just, like, feel vindicated on or give them, like, something to touch on, and then they can create more videos because once you acknowledge them, they're like, "Oh my god, let me eat this up, and then I can milk it for another 10 videos because I've engaged with this person." So it is one of those tricky things where you want to comment and respond to, but it just opens a floodgate of giving that negative energy
Yes.
exactly what they want and feeds them with more money in their pocket.
There was literally, like, a situation for me yesterday where I just wanted to respond to a comment, but I was like, the moment I respond,
Oh god.
it just snowballs, Molly. Just go vent to your fiancé and be done with it. Just move on, it's
It's
fine.
so
It's so hard
hard.
sometimes because when people I don't know if you feel like this, but I see it in a lot of other OG creators who've been doing this for a very long time, and it's something that is so ingrained in me at this point. I over-explain everything on camera,
Okay.
in real life.
Yeah.
I over-explain everything, and I'll say the same thing in, like, 3 to 5 different ways
Sure.
because
Yeah.
I've seen the way people misinterpret my words
Yeah.
and twist them, and I'm like, "If I explain it 3 to 5 different ways,
Yeah.
nobody can get it twisted. I've explained it in every way I can possibly think of so everybody can conceptualize what I'm getting at
Yeah.
here." And I hate it. My fiance's always like, "Molly, I get it. You've said that 3 times." I'm like, "Sorry, I'm sorry." Like, it's just so embedded in me
Oh
now.
my god. That's so funny.
I had this rumor in those earlier days. I wanna say it was, like, probably 2019, 2018, where somebody wrote this whole story, and I wanna say it started on Reddit and then it got,
Okay.
like, cross-posted,
Yeah.
that I was faking blind, which obviously that's the narrative
Of
everybody loves
course.
to run with,
Yeah.
but they made a full story about how we ran into each other at a dog park here in LA. They, like, wrote the name of the dog park, which was nowhere near the part of town I lived in and I'd
Yeah.
never been to, and that I was walking with my guide dog, and the dog wasn't on harness, it was just on a leash, and I was walking alone, and that I met them, we started talking, and I complimented the color of their eyes. And they had, like, this full like, she said that my beautiful green eyes, and she could see them, and she was navigating just fine, and they had this whole and I was
That is crazy.
like, "This is literally just entirely fabricated." It was so bizarre.
Wow.
It was so bizarre. I was like,
That's sick.
Are people hallucinating these experiences? Like, what
It's a very scary time on the internet because it's so easy to just either make up a story and then it goes viral and then it's like, "Oh my god," like and people don't have the critical thinking that maybe they used to, and they just take things at face value because it sounds entertaining and it's like, "Oh my god, I love the way that sounds in the narrative in my head because maybe I've had an experience with someone like that and I felt this way about them, so I'm gonna take my past experiences and push it on to this person because of XYZ. I think they call it transference actually. Um, but yeah, it's exhausting.
So when you came out and you had that, like, really beautiful, wonderful experience, what phase of your career was that in? Like, were you making a full-time living as a creator at that point, or
Yeah, I think that was maybe okay, so that was 20 I started that was maybe like 9 years into my YouTube career. So I think that was when things were like really starting to pop off for me. I was in the middle of daily vlogging every single day. So I had a very intense hardcore fan base that was watching every single day. And so to then share that vulnerable side of me, I think just really enhanced the connection even more.
but it was definitely a risk, like, to come out at a time
Yeah.
when your career is kind of just solidifying and
Yeah.
like, really taking off. It must have been, like, very scary, but then so gratifying and, like, such a relief
Yeah.
when it went well.
Completely. It was still terrifying at the time, but again, because I had seen, like, the Connors and the Troys, like, come out and see the support that they had, it again just gave me the courage, and I felt pretty solid in the fact, and I wouldn't have been able to do it without having my core friends and having a relationship and finally coming to terms with myself and building that confidence. And then luckily, I think the response being so overwhelmingly positive not only helped me, but it helps the whole next generation of people because it was a massive video that had so much positive response that I think subconsciously the community felt safe and felt like the next generation of little gay boys who watched that video and also saw the comments of support then gave them the courage to live their truth. So it all connected and I feel like it's cool to be like one of those bricks in the road to what being gay and the support that it has now has.
I can tell you, and my friend will kill me for saying this, so I'm sorry. You were one of my friend's gay awakenings,
Shut
and all the
up.
time he's like Gen Z, he's younger than us,
Okay.
and like all the time, so he would have been like one of those little closeted gay boys watching
Yeah.
you come out, and he all the time he's like, I still can't believe you know Joey Graceffa. He was my first gay crush. He was my gay awakening. So you definitely were. I can confirm just from my own little circle
Yeah.
that you were that for people, and that's
So
something that
cute.
you should like be so proud of.
That's something I should probably put in my Instagram bio.
Your gay awakening.
Yes, adding it right now.
What for you, when you look back, is the moment you're most proud of?
I feel like it has to do with Escape the Night, just being able to create a show that so many fans still talk about and are desperate for it to make a comeback. I think I just like really created a piece of magic and it was one, so fun to create, and two, just like it really allowed my creative side to thrive and I got to do some really cool things and I learned so much and I just had so much fun and I want to bring it back so bad. So,
If you do, can I be on it?
girl, I don't know if it's set up for you to,
I
to
will manage.
participate.
We'll make accessibility accommodations. We'll figure it
We're like
out.
all running from a monster and you're like, where do I go?
That's honestly why it would be so funny.
It would be really funny and then like have you be killed.
I mean, I would be the first to be killed. Like, let's be so
We
for
all
real.
run off and Molly's just there like, hello, guys?
I'm the scapegoat. I was always like, why don't I get to be on Escape the Night? And then I watched it and I was like, I get why I'm not on Escape the Night.
Yeah.
But I still want to be. So if it ever revives,
Okay.
me and my guide dog will be on it as a little duo, dynamic duo. And we'll see how far we get.
I'll see how far we get. Oh my god, that would be really funny.
I feel like back in those days when I was like collaborating with all these creators and stuff, including you, it's like everybody would put me in the title as like blind girl XYZ. And it was so funny to me because so many people were pissed off on my behalf. Like they were getting so like offended for me.
you,
And I like literally had to make a video and I was like, I'm not offended.
Yeah.
Guys, I'm not offended.
Uh-huh.
It's fine. Like, I'm a nobody. I don't have a name for myself. Like, titles are marketing. We gotta market what makes this video interesting. And
Yeah.
I'm going into the collab well aware that what makes it interesting is my blindness. And if that is what gets more people to click and more people to learn about blindness, that's what I care about.
Yeah.
Like, I want people to learn.
That's really cool because it just shows like that it wasn't like your ego getting in the way to be like, no, it should be my name. It's like you understood the reasoning behind and like the ultimate goal, like you said, is to like get the viewership to educate and do more good than it being about having your name be in the title instead.
Did you ever have moments when your audience like came to your defense and you were like, it's okay?
Ooh, I mean, there was a lot of that. I think there were a lot of girls who didn't like my relationship and would be very defensive and were not the nicest to Daniel and just more so like overprotective of me. And I think they maybe had a little crush on me, so we're a little mad at that situation. But But yeah, I think they're like all throughout, like people came to my defense, which was really sweet. But sometimes had negative effects towards people I cared about.
Yeah, well-intentioned, but
Yeah.
maybe, like, a little misguided.
Hmm.
I feel like being a creator who watches content is so different than just being a consumer of content, because I feel like I'm continually watching from the lens of understanding what's going on behind the scenes versus just, like, watching from complete ignorance of, like, what the full landscape looks like. Like,
Yeah.
I feel like it helps me in ways avoid becoming parasocial, but yet I also understand feeling parasocial. Like, when followers meet me, they're always like, "Oh my god, that's so weird. I feel like I know you."
Yeah, I'm like, oh, I totally know what you're feeling because like I've felt that way about people too. Yeah.
Exactly. I'm like they're like, "I'm sorry, that's so weird." I'm like, "It's not." Like,
Yeah.
I feel like that when I go to content creator events,
Yeah.
and I'm like, "Oh my god, this is a creator I've watched for years,"
Yeah.
but they might not follow me back. They don't
Right.
know who I am. So, like, I totally get the feeling, but I feel like I'm consciously always trying to, like, check myself and remember, like, I don't know as much as I feel like I might know because I know from behind the scenes how much audiences don't see, if that makes sense.
Totally. I feel that way about like reality shows because
Yeah.
after like producing and making a reality show, I'm like, oh, like I now can put myself in the mind of a producer and knowing like how things are moving behind the scenes. And it's it's really fun to like have that perspective.
One of my favorite games with watching reality TV shows is spotting all the tricks. So, like,
Oh,
I
okay.
love because I'm obviously being blind, like, I'm very focused on audio editing.
Yeah.
It's very easy for me to hear. So,
Wow.
listening to where they've chopped sentences together is one of
Yeah.
my favorite
Oh
games.
my
It is
God.
so fun to hear the audio, the, like, very subtle audio differences
Yeah.
where they've strung a sentence together that the person never
Right.
actually said, which
Oh
is
my
very
God.
common practice
No,
in
for
reality
sure.
TV.
I had to do that in Escape the Night because, like, we didn't have, like, one of the I think it was Manny MUA, he didn't say, like, "Oh, there's the VHS tape that we needed," and we were able to, like, splice things together and make him say that sentence.
Isn't it so wild?
Yeah.
And, like, whenever I hear it, if I'm watching with a sighted person, I'll be like, "Roll it back. Tell me if they cut to B-roll during this part," because that's the only way they can do it is, like, cut to
Yes.
B-roll of a
Yep.
different frame or, like, cut to the frame of the person they're talking to,
Yep.
something like that, so that you don't see that their mouth isn't actually moving, and
Completely.
without fail, it's like they always do, or, like, letting people know, say, like, why the gold cups are so famous in shows like Love Is
Oh, for
Blind
continuity,
for
yep.
continuity because they can cut together a scene
Mhm.
even if the wine glass is going up and down.
Yeah.
They can cut that stuff together and make it look like it was one
Right.
conversation.
Totally,
What
and
are
that's
some
in the
other tricks?
contract, like, that's
Yeah,
what they sign up for, it's like, we have full rights to
edit
manipulate.
however you
Yeah,
want, which is why I've never signed any of the many reality contracts that have come my way because
damn,
I love having complete autonomy,
totally.
which just as a creator is what we've built for
Yeah,
ourselves is like a career where we're getting to make the editing decisions. And it just scares me so much to think people can create a character out of
mhm,
me
yeah.
who I'm not. What were some other like tricks from the reality producing
I
lens?
think it's more so because 'cause I've been on a reality show and then producing one, I'm like, "Oh my god," like, at the end of the day, they're making a reality TV show for entertainment,
Yes.
and if the contestants aren't entertaining, then they're probably gonna be kicked off the show, so it's like I can catch in a show when someone's not giving and I'm like, "Oh, the producers are gonna get rid of this person ASAP." Like, they're just not giving what they think they're giving,
Mm,
and so I guess I look at it in that perspective of, like, from being on reality TV and thinking, "Oh, this is real, and I just need to, like, be myself." I'm like, "No, you need to, like, enhance and, like, bring story entertainment to what they're filming, otherwise it's just you're gonna be booted."
I forgot that you were on reality TV. Tell me about that experience being on The Amazing Race.
It was a lot of fun. I enjoyed it a lot. It felt very real in the moment, and, like, it was truly a once in a lifetime, I guess technically twice in a lifetime experience because I was on All Stars, but I was, I think, 21 when I was on the show, and so they had us doing crazy stuff, like, we went to the most beautiful places. The first place was Bora Bora, then we went to New Zealand, and then we were just, like, all across the world, and the downside is, like, you're in a state of fight or flight the entire time because
Mm.
it's competition mode, so it's like, you don't have any time to feel safe or restful, but at the same time, you also feel completely safe because there's cameras. So it's like, yeah, I could jump off this building. I'm not gonna die. There's cameras recording me. Like, I could totally do this. But you don't feel safe in the sense of like you can't confide in any of the other teammates. So it's really a lonely place to be for 30 days. You have your teammate, but it's you two against the world. And it's like full competition mode. You're sleeping in airports. There's
Oof.
cockroaches. There's like you're in some pretty messy places, but the adrenaline and everything just gets you through it, and it was truly just, like, so much fun, and I appreciate that experience. I don't know if I necessarily would be able to do it again, but I look back at it with, more appreciation of it now because I feel like it cultured me for sure.
I feel like that's one of those things we were talking about earlier where only your 21-year-old self
Yeah,
can go through all of that.
yeah,
30-something self is a little more trepidatious, a
yeah.
little more, I need a real bed. I
Mhm.
don't want cockroaches on an airport floor.
Uh-uh.
Not at
No,
this phase in my
no,
life.
thank you. I'm good.
My younger self, absolutely.
Oh,
My
yeah.
younger self did some gnarly naturey things that I'm like, girl, how did you sleep with the sausage bugs in rural Kenya for a month and
Oh
poop
my
in a
god.
hole in the ground? How did you do that? Because 32-year-old me, I need a toilet that flushes and I need a bug-free bed. Praise God, that is always my situation from now on.
Yeah.
Please, please, please. I mean, look, I'll do it if I have to, but I just hope I don't have to.
For a check.
I won't put myself willingly in the situation the way I literally willingly did that before.
Yeah. Mm-mm.
When you look back at, like, all the things that you've done, what is the one thing where you're like, "That was insane. How did I get that opportunity?" Or, "How did I get to be in
Mm.
that situation?"
Oh my gosh.
Whether for better or worse.
Yeah. No, I feel like there was just like a period of so many crazy things. I think there was this one time, it was right after VidCon where my manager approached me and she was like, there's this like really wealthy man who has like two daughters that like really wants you to spend the day at their birthday party. And I was like, all right, how much is the check? And she was like, it's $10,000. I was like, bitch, I'm there. I'll do whatever they want. So I show up at this Beverly Hills like random club. There's nobody there except the parents and the parents' friends and the I think it was like two girls and they had like their cousin or something there with them. And so it's just us and this Beverly Hills club and I'm basically there to babysit the girls, which I grew up babysitting, and I connect with, like, girls more than boys, so I was able to just, like, basically play games with them. We did, like, the Birdie Bots challenge and just, like, the craziest stuff,
You
and
were the dance monkey.
I was the dance monkey, and then they had me sing for them live. But I didn't actually sing, I lip synced for my life, and it was so embarrassing. They really want you to sing your hit song, and it was, I think it was I don't know if it was my "Don't Wait" song at that point. No, it wasn't. It was, like I think I did, like, an Anna Sun music video cover or something, and so they had me sing that, and just the girl was maybe, like, as far away as you are, and I have this mic, and I'm just, like, lip syncing, and she's like, "Wow, he's so good."
He's
Just like
so talented. He sounds the exact same in real
exactly like
life.
I imagined. And
Oh my god, her watching this right now, being like,
and then my manager just appears, and I'm like, "Where is my manager?" Like, it's 11 o'clock. Like, I wanna go home,
"Wait,
and
11 p.m.?
yeah,
Whoa, you really committed to the day."
yes, and so they start packing up and leaving, and I'm like, "I don't know where the frick my manager went to." And so I'm upstairs, I'm saying bye to everyone, and my manager comes running up the stairs, and she has, like, all this cash in her hand. They paid her in cash. And she's like, I'm so sorry. I was in the bathroom counting the cash to make sure it was $10,000. And I was like, oh my God, well, is it? And she like took her $2,000
Cut.
cut. And then I was on my way.
Let it be known, I am happy to attend your birthday for 10,000.
Same.
So, in fact, we could do a package deal, cut you a
Yes.
discount for both of us.
Please.
Elton will come as well, so you're really getting 3
Okay.
for the
I like
price of
this.
like 1.5. I could say we would maybe do.
Yes.
Cut our managers out of the deal. Screw them. They don't need their
Down.
percentage.
Hit us up.
If you're paying us cash, who's to know?
Yeah.
Oh my God, that's actually so wild.
It was so fun.
But I love that for you.
And then I just had this like cash in my drawer that I would just randomly take 100 out and be like, oh, I'll just take this on my day.
Girl math. It's not even real money.
No, it wasn't real.
It's not even real money at
didn't
that point. So
exist.
you can spend on whatever you want because it's
Yeah.
not real.
Exactly.
You also had a brand called Crystal Wolf.
I did,
I
yes.
still have pieces from
Shut
it,
up,
and I'm still
really?
sad you don't have it anymore.
I know.
As
That's
a crystal girly.
it's so funny because there's a contestant on Drag Race right now that in their confessional look is wearing one of my Crystal Wolf necklaces. And I'm like, oh my God, like from the archive. So crazy.
You literally, it's like, what didn't you do?
I know.
I feel like you took the opportunity and you were like, seize the day, I'm gonna do it all.
I had such an obsession with crystals and spent way too much money on crystals. But then I started getting crystal jewelry and I was like, oh my God, like I should make a crystal jewelry line. And so I did for a long time. I think it was like maybe around for like 5 years. And I also did nail polish, but it just like reached a point where I just like wasn't passionate about it anymore. And so I closed it down and then was like, well, my content's mainly focused around pets. So it makes more sense for me to start a pet brand than dealing with crystals and jewelry. So I started a brand called Tail, which is pet supplements right now. I do dog supplements and now I'm expanding into cat supplements. So
We're gonna get into that. I have a pitch for you after this is done.
oh, period. Okay.
I have an idea.
All right.
Stay tuned.
Well, let's get into it.
I'm saying it on the podcast, so he has to say yes.
Oh, I'm so
after the
excited.
podcast because now all of you expect something. So
Exactly.
thank you.
Yes. I'm excited to hear what this is.
Speaking of spending too much money on crystals.
Yeah.
What is like the dumbest purchase you made with that, like those fat YouTube checks back in the day? What is the thing where you're like, what the hell was I thinking?
I think as a tourist, I'm really good with my money. So I don't think I necessarily bought things that I shouldn't have. However, there was like a period of time where this was before like the big Pokemon craze came back, but there was a period where I was feeling super nostalgic. And so I would buy Pokemon card booster packs on eBay and from the original sets that you could only get from like people who had saved them from the 90s. And so I think I bought them for maybe 5,000 a box at the time. And I think I maybe bought like 3 or 4 of them. And today they're probably worth $25,000 unopened. So I wish I had bought those and never opened them for a freaking YouTube video.
Oh, damn it.
Ugh.
Okay, so you did have this like eventual pivot into pet content, which is my favorite era for you.
Yeah, that's mine too.
And do you know what I think is so cool for both of us where we're at in our careers right now? Like we've talked about earlier in this conversation about how like we have significantly less views than we used to get, which carries like a lot of mixed feelings.
Yeah.
But one thing that I think is so cool for both of us is like the people who are still with us are so supportive.
Yeah.
Like the people who are still here listening to this, who still watch my videos, like you are the true people who are like my community, my tribe, my support system. And I'm so grateful for those who are still here and who weren't just here for the like flash in the pan moment, but who have stuck with me and been like, no, I'm here for you because like I actually care about you and your life and like being on this ride with you. And that's so special.
It is really cool.
And you have this like core audience who is still with you for this Save the Animals era.
I feel like my audience has actually now evolved into like Facebook moms. Like I have a whole different now community of, like, mothers who love my content.
What made you say, I want to take my success and I want to do something good with it, like saving animals?
To me, it's just always it's I guess not even, like, me being like, "Oh, I'm, like, doing something good." It's, like, genuinely just, like, something I love to do. Like, it all started, and it's actually kind of somewhat connected to you in a way because it started with my cat Sakura, and it was the beginning of COVID, and I was just like, I've always wanted a black cat, and, like, things were just shutting down, and my assistant Oscar at the time was like, "Oh my god," like, I was just on Craigslist, and there's this black cat that needs, um help, needs a home, and sent me the link, and I was like, "Oh my god, Orange County, like, let's go right now." And so, brought her home, set her up in a room. She gave birth, like, maybe a week or so later, and I just love the experience of helping her and just falling in love with her and the kittens and just, like, the whole evolution of them from birth to then finding them homes, and then it evolved into puppies as well.
To get your first cat and a week later she gives birth to kittens, when you're not like a vet
Yes.
tech, you're not a
No.
like, how the hell did you prepare yourself, your life for that?
So, it's so crazy because like, growing up, I had a cat that gave birth as well, and I watched her give birth, and it was so cool to see that happen and just see Mother Nature do its thing because she did all the work. Like, she was just pushing them out, she was licking them, and they just started suckling right away, and so I wasn't too scared because I was like, "Oh, like, Mother Nature knows what it's doing," and, like, just the animal instincts kick in. It's like, we're not needed there, but what I provide is just a safe environment for them to have their babies and set them up for the most success. Like, I'm not actually there like being like, come on, girl. Well, I kind of am actually like, they're like, push and holding your leg up. And I'm like, come on, you can do it. But, like, I don't need to be there. Um, but I think it's also like educating people on just like what the process is like and finding these dogs that are either bound to be euthanized or finding them in a field that they've been abandoned and don't have they're gonna literally give birth in a ditch, and most of those puppies are probably going to die from being too cold, and then it's like, "Alright, I'm saving them, and I'm setting them up for the best success possible," but sometimes Mother Nature intervenes regardless, and some of them don't make it, but as long as I know that I'm, like, providing a better environment than they would have had, then I'm just doing my best, and I'm enjoying my experience of doing this.
So, Sakura and my baby Lavender
Yes.
was like the first venture, the first
Yeah.
foray into animal rescue.
Yeah.
And I remember, like, when you had the kittens, I was like, "Oh my god, I absolutely need one." My mom has always dreamed of having a cat. Like, we had a
Oh.
dog growing up, and she always had wanted a cat. My dad wanted a dog, my mom wanted a cat, but they decided on a dog because I was scared of dogs, and they wanted me to have the option to get a guide dog
Okay.
someday, should I
Yeah.
want. And they knew that the only way to get me to not be scared of dogs was to get me used to them. And
Yeah.
my brother loved dogs, so they're like, "Great, we'll get a dog."
Yeah.
But my mom had always wanted a cat. So when you had the kittens, I was like, "Wait, this is perfect for Mother's Day. I can get my mom a kitten."
Yeah.
And I texted you, and we ended up going with Lavender because you thought she might be
Yeah,
blind.
she had, like, such, like, a strange she, like, wouldn't, like, follow properly like the other cats would with, like, things and sounds, and so I was like, "Oh my god, is she blind?" And for, like, a while, I thought she was, and I was like, "Oh my god, Molly, like, I think I actually have the perfect cat for you, like, this could be, like, a match made in heaven." I forget what her initial name was because it
Leo.
was Leo,
Leo.
yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
Little
did, like, a
Leo.
a zodiac theme
Yep.
for that litter, yeah.
I truthfully was really sad when I found out she wasn't blind. Like, I was so excited
I
to have a
know.
blind
Oh, it
cat.
would've been so good for the brand.
So cutesy. Like, my guide dog could have been her guide dog when we were around the house.
Oh,
Like, I just had this whole vision of, like, me finally having a family member who was also
like
blind.
you.
Yeah, and then girl had to go and be sighted. Must be nice. Yeah, so she's cited. For anybody who didn't keep up with
Yeah.
Lavender and her new home, she is cited, and I get asked all the time. We do still have her. She is with my parents in Vancouver, and
Mhm.
we were just there visiting, and my mom said she has been crying all night since we left,
God.
which breaks my
Sakura is
heart.
the most vocal cat ever, so I imagine her
She's very
offsprings are also
vocal.
very vocal.
Yeah, she's a loud lady. She likes to be known. She likes to be heard. There's something I do with every show
Okay.
where I like ask an awkward question.
Okay.
So I have an awkward question for you.
Oh gosh.
I want to go, we're going to go back a little bit.
Okay.
You went through a very public breakup
Okay.
after a long term relationship.
Yeah.
People had a lot of feelings, people had a lot of opinions.
Okay.
And I'm sure it was not easy
Yeah.
going through such a public long term breakup.
Yeah.
I feel like I've seen him back around. Like, is it like a friendship has revived, or is it romantic?
No, it's just a friendship. It's really nice because I feel like we understand each other really well. And it does get a little confusing at times, I think because we had that closeness at one point, but it is very much just friendship vibes right now. There are moments that I like slip into that like mindset of like, oh, like what if? But then I go back to like, no, there's like a reason that it didn't work out. Like we are so different, and there's so many like things that like as people just don't mesh. Like we butt heads so much that it is kind of like a reminder at times as to like why we aren't compatible. But then there are times where it's like, well, we both are like so into like animals and like we have a lot in common, but it's those differences that I think that really make it so we can't be together.
Do you think there's like any hope for the future? Like life's long,
It
Joey.
is. I mean, I will never say never, but as of right now, I think we're just more in like the friendship phase and like supporting. And he's actually been super helpful with my current litter of puppies. Like I had this trip planned to go to Japan for my birthday this year. And like 3 weeks before that trip, I got a text that was like, this German Shepherd's going to be euthanized. Is there any way you can take her? And I was like, well, I have this trip like in between of like my journey I'd have with them. And like the only person that I could trust to like take over this responsibility would be Daniel because he's gone through it with me before. And so I texted him and I was like, this dog's going to be euthanized. Is there any way you can come and take care of them while I'm on this trip? Otherwise, like, I can't do this journey of the German Shepherd. And he was like, well, duh. Like, obviously, like, if she's going to die, like, let's get her. And so I pulled her out. And then he, while I was in Japan for 2 weeks, stayed at my house and just like took care of all the dogs. So it's like, there's moments like that it's like, oh my God, like we make a great team in those senses, but then there's like moments where we just are like wanna kill each other. So I don't know.
What's the secret to being friends with your ex?
I don't recommend it.
The secret is don't.
The secret is just don't do it.
Says the one actively being friends with his ex.
Well, we've already gone down the road, so no going back now. But I'd recommend don't do it.
What was going through that public breakup like?
It was difficult just because it ended up on, like, a dark side of Twitter, so when we posted the
Aren't all sides of
announcement.
Twitter dark sides of Twitter?
Oh, for sure. I mean, it wasn't back then, but now it is,
Yeah.
I'm sure. But it definitely became, like, a thing where it left my audience, who the video was made for, announcing, and then it, like, got into gay Twitter that is notoriously just, like, a very unhappy place when it has to do with gays, fellow gays that are in love. And it was just very much like, we don't care like who asked for this. And it's like, well, this was for my audience who had followed our 5 year journey and like it came across your For You page. Like I don't decide the algorithm for it to appear for you. And then people were saying like like, making fun of the thumbnail because it looked like it was, like, we posed for a dramatic thumbnail, but it was
Just a screen
genuinely
grab.
it was from the video.
Yeah.
Like, it wasn't like we were like, "Okay, now let's pose crying." It was like it was an actual moment that was real in the video, and it does look dramatic, but it was dramatic.
Mm,
Um so yeah, that I think was the hardest because then it was, like, all this, like, criticism at a point where I'm, like, really sad and vulnerable, and then to have people hating on you when you're already down is
yeah.
like, "What the fuck is wrong with people?"
I also always find the comments of like, nobody cares or who cares about this? Nobody's gonna watch this. Really funny because I'm like, you clicked on it to comment that.
Yeah.
You clicked on it to comment that. So evidently, you.
Yeah.
Like, what? And also, like, if it's not for you, it's just not for you.
Yeah.
That doesn't mean it's not for anybody. Like, there are people who it's for. So,
Yes.
like, move along. Internet culture is so funny.
It's dark.
What is it like trying to date since? Do you try?
Oh, I do try. I guess I'm just, like, not wowed by anyone. I was telling my friend Nikita yesterday, I was like, "I haven't had a crush on someone in a while." Like, I wanna be excited about when someone texts me on the phone and, like, because I think we were watching a show and, like, this girl was, like, freaking out because she was, like, waiting for a text from, like, the guy she's crushing on. I'm like, "I haven't felt that way in a while," like, being like, "Oh my god, has he texted?" Like and then when he does text, it's, like, the most exciting part of the day. Like, I'm like, "I'm craving that feeling," and it's been a minute.
What are you trying to do? Because I don't know. I have quite a few gay friends, and all I keep hearing is it's very hard to be gay in LA. Like, it's not like an easy city to date as a gay man.
Yeah,
What do you think about
I
that?
think it's everywhere. I don't think it's just LA. I think Instagram and the internet have kind of made and dating apps, I think, have made it really hard for people to be satisfied with what is in their vicinity and always just looking for the next best thing. And I think I fall victim to that as well. Like I am looking for like a perfect match and I'm looking for that spark, that like romance. And I feel like a lot of guys just don't try anymore. So it's like I'm like looking for the guys who are like trying to romance me
Yeah, bring
and
you a bouquet of flowers, sweep you off your
yes.
feet.
So, but I have to like them to like enjoy that because I have had guys that have gone on a couple dates with and then they bring me flowers and I'm like, oh shit, like I really don't like this guy and he's bringing me flowers and now I feel bad because he's doing all the things that I want, but just not from the person that I want to be doing
Oof.
it.
We've all felt that. We have all
Yes.
been
Okay.
there.
But I'm like so into like European men and they're just hard to find in LA. So I feel like I need to go maybe to Europe or something.
Do you get many like sliding into the
Yeah,
DMs?
of course.
Good or bad? Like, is there anyone where you're like, oh, damn, I can't even, like, if the internet knew that person slid into my DMs?
Um, no, not anyone famous. I don't think that slid into my DMs that way. Just like random gay boys on Twitter or on Instagram.
Have you ever dated a fan?
I think they're all fans of me.
We should all be dating a fan.
Right.
Everybody should date a fan. Your partner should be a fan of you.
I've definitely gone on dates with guys who knew who I was, but I wouldn't necessarily say they were like a fanboy who was like watching every one of my vlogs, but
Yeah.
they definitely had seen my content before. And I've also been on dates where they didn't know anything and I got recognized in person. And then they were like, what the fuck? Like, do you know that person? And I was like, oh no. And then I have to explain the whole thing. And
I definitely had dates like that. So awkward.
oh my God. I think it's funny. But
It
yeah, a little awkward because then, alright, chick is up, now you know who I really am.
I had this situation where I like went on a first date and I got stopped like 2 or 3 times. So then I told him like what I do and who I am. And we had just like met on a dating app and
Okay.
I never linked any of my
Yeah,
socials because for obvious reasons.
right.
I didn't want them seeing what I do and like being
Yeah,
able to just go deep dive everything.
totally.
So I like met him, a bunch of people recognize me, I tell him what I do. It doesn't work out. He actually ghosts me. That's why it doesn't work out.
Okay.
We like went on 2 dates and he like completely ghosts me after being like, I'm going on a business trip for a month, but when I'm back, I want to see you again.
Yeah,
Never heard from the guy.
okay.
2 years later, doesn't this little bitch text me going, hey, I just released a song on Spotify. Could you promote it?
Shut up. And you're like, "Sure."
I was like, yeah, with a good backstory, I will. I was like gobsmacked. I was like, this is like the epitome of LA dating.
Oh, man.
The epitome of LA
Yeah, I really
dating.
haven't found much sparks here in LA. I think I've had a couple in London, and I think it's just, like, a cultural difference. I feel like they're more grounded, and it's also just, like, a city that is much more fun for dating. Here in LA, it's like, "Yeah, let's go get a drink, let's go get dinner," but it's like you have to drive 30 minutes, and then it's so I don't know, like, it doesn't have the, like, excitement of, like, "Well, now let's, like, stroll down the street and walk through the park." It's like, you can't do that in LA.
No, nobody's strolling the LA
Anywhere.
sidewalks.
You're going into the restaurant and back into your car. There's no, like, moments of, like, spontaneity that can happen here, and so
That is so real. I
yeah.
never thought of it like that, but that is honestly so real. My fiance, I would say, was like in the category of like he was a follower of mine
Oh,
and we met on Instagram.
okay.
So I'm very pro this because it at least worked out for me.
Yeah,
But he wasn't like a super fan. Like he wasn't. I wouldn't even say he was a fan. He just like seen my content, thought it was cool, would pop in and see the odd thing.
okay.
But like I knew the moment we met that he was not a super fan because he immediately pet my guide dog, and I was like, boy, if you watched enough of my videos, you would know not to pet a guide dog when they're working. And then he like was like didn't know like basic things about me that like
Okay.
anybody who
Right.
regularly watches my content is like, oh yeah,
Yeah.
obviously I know that about Molly.
Right.
So I was like, okay, we're in like good territory
Yeah,
where like he knows who I am and like a base level about me to where like I know he's already down with it.
yeah.
Like he's already cool with the fact that I'm blind.
Yeah.
He's already cool with the fact that I'm a public figure and like on social media in the public eye. But he doesn't know so much where I'm like creeped out or
Okay.
feel like he's like crafting the narrative of who he is to fit who I want.
Yes.
That was always my fear in the idea of dating a follower. Was like if they really know everything about me, they can like contort themselves into being who I want. And
Yeah.
I never liked that idea for obvious reasons.
Yeah. I that's why I also, like, on dating apps, I don't, like, say who I am, but nowadays it's so easy to just, like, reverse image search and, like, find everything out. So, yeah, I don't say that. They'll be like, "What do you do for work?" I'm like, "Oh, I'm a writer and a producer."
I mean, true.
It's true, but there's also a whole other side of me on the internet.
I feel like I never know what to say that I do. Like when people ask
Oh,
me,
yeah.
I'm like, I mean, a million things.
Yeah.
So, like, I don't know which thing to tell you I
And it's
do.
also tough because I feel like the perception of a content creator now is, like I mean
Everybody is a content creator. So,
right.
saying it doesn't, like, really mean almost anything.
Yeah.
But also, I feel like when I say I do, like, I'm a speaker and an author and a consultant and a
Yeah.
creator, I'm like, it sounds like I do nothing very well. And that's why I have to do everything. I'm like, no, I'm just a creative who can't stick with one career path. I'm just a
Yes.
genuine creative who wants to do everything.
Same.
Speaking of doing everything, what is next for you? Like, what do you see in the future for Joey Graceffa? You've been
Uh,
on this line for 20 years. Like, where does it go
yeah.
from here?
Well, continuing to build my brand tail, working on bringing Escape the Night back, and hopefully get my books turned into movies or TV shows. Like, that
The
is the
dream.
ultimate goal because it's like, again, I see things so visually, and during, like, my writing process, I just see it visually, and I want other people to experience it visually, so that's the ultimate goal.
I love that.
And rescuing more animals, of course.
Do you think there'll ever be a day when you retire, when you're just like, I can't keep putting my face on social media?
I don't think so. Like, my ultimate goal is to end up on a farm in the countryside and just, like, still sharing that aspect of my life, but in a more, like, relaxed and just not for the money, just
Mm-hmm.
for, like, I'm retired and I just wanna, like, continue to share because I love connecting with people, and it's such a great way to, like, do that.
I feel very similar in that, like, I want to, quote, retire by like 45. Like,
Okay.
that's the dream.
Ooh.
But when I say that, I don't mean stop the work I do.
Yeah.
I mean stop doing it to pay bills. Obviously,
Yes.
that's not why I do it, but like I do have to pay bills. And my
Yes.
goal is to get to a point where it's like, okay, I've invested wisely. I'm comfortable just living a very simple life.
Mhm.
And I continue to share my life purely just for the change, the same way I started. Like,
Yes.
I continue to make content and speak and write, but I don't do any of it with the need to pay bills from
Mhm.
it. Because I think, I started doing all of this having no idea it would ever make money. Like, and no expectation it would
Yeah.
ever make money.
Same.
I did it because I believed it mattered, and I believed a voice like mine deserved to be heard. And mainstream media wasn't doing it. And I wasn't gonna keep sitting around waiting for an opportunity for
Yeah.
somebody to give me a chance in the entertainment industry. I wasn't gonna keep sitting around, like, letting other people tell my story and feeling frustrated that it wasn't accurate,
Yep.
And so I was just like, I'm just gonna get up and do it for myself and build community and, like, connect with people, and I never expected it would turn into what it did. I just did it because I believed it mattered,
Yeah.
and I still believe it matters, but inevitably, when any passion becomes also the thing that pays your bills, there is just like a shift.
Yep.
It carries different weight, especially when you don't just pay your own bills, but often you're paying other people's bills.
Yeah.
And you have that pressure of like, I'm not just making money to sustain myself, I'm making money to sustain people I care about and people I love. And it's
Totally.
a great privilege to do that. Like, it's
Absolutely.
such an honor to do that. But it does just carry a different level of weight of like
Mhm.
this feeling. Sometimes, I don't know if this is relatable for you, but like the feeling of like running on a treadmill,
Oh, the whole time. The
like being
whole
a hamster in a ball that's
Yeah.
going nowhere.
Yeah.
And you're just like, I'm fortunate that I get to pay my bills doing something I love and that I believe in.
Yeah.
But like at the end of the day, I would love to eventually be able to get back to the place where like I've technically retired and that I'm not doing it because I have to pay bills.
I love that.
I'm just doing it once again for the belief and the passion and the purpose
Yes.
of what what the goals I'm trying to reach for change.
I wish we could all just live that way. I
Oh,
think the world would be a much
utopia.
happier place.
Utopia.
Utopia.
Is that the promise they're trying to sell us with AI?
God, no. I don't think
I
so.
feel like that's what they're trying to convince us of. They're trying to convince us that, like, eventually AI will create utopia.
I don't know about that.
Oh, I don't think I believe it, but I think that's what they're trying to make us believe.
I mean, that was actually like the premise of my first book was like a AI run city called Eden, and it turned out like it was a self-contained city that families could only have one child each, and didn't really turn out so good. So I hope not.
You have written so many books. You've had so many projects.
Yeah.
Tale, Escape the Night.
Hmm.
Where can everybody keep up with all of your ongoings?
I guess probably like Instagram and my YouTube channel are like my two main forms of where I put all my stuff, which is just Joey Graceffa.
Keep it easy. I
Yeah.
like it. All the links will be down below, so you can check them all out. Thank you for sitting down and chatting with
Yes.
me.
Thanks for having me. This was
This
great.
was so fun.
Yeah.
It's been too long. I'm glad we could like
I know.
reconnect.
And I can't wait to hear your proposition.
Proposition coming soon.
Yes.
Okay, thank you all so much for listening. I hope you've enjoyed this episode, and now you know what it's really like.